Welcome to another video. So for this video, I'll be demonstrating dispersion effect or splatter effect in Photoshop. So how we're going to create a splattering effect or dispersion effect using a photo or using an image, and you're going to use layer masking on creating the effect, and also I'll be teaching some of the tools like rulers and grid. So let's start. So this is how the final output would look like. So from the image, so you can see some splatter effect on the canvas or the image itself. So basically, this is how you do dispersion effect in Photoshop. So this will be our final output. So let's start. So let's open a new file. Okay, so let's start. So we're going to use this image for our dispersion or splatter effect or technique. So let's start with a new file. So let's by creating a new file, go to File, New. So let's say we're going to use or we're going to create a 15 inches by 8 inches canvas. Okay. So that will be our canvas size. So before I proceed with the dispersion technique, I'll just have to add on this one. So you can always have your ruler or your ruler guide on your Photoshop or on your canvas just by pressing Control R. Okay? Or by clicking View, then you can check the rulers. You can always uncheck View Rulers or Control R. Okay, you can also show grid lines for your reference. Let's say if you are aligning something in your canvas, so sometimes it is important that you have your guide. So you can click View, Show, and Grid or the Control single quote. Okay, so you can have the grid lines and the rulers on your canvas. So you can press Control R for the ruler and Control single quote for the grid lines. Okay. Another thing is you can have alignment lines. So if you have a guidelines, so you can just click on the ruler. Let's say if you wanted to put a text which is aligned to something in your canvas, you can always use the guidelines by adding guidelines. So click on the ruler, click and hold on the ruler, then drag. Okay, so you have the guidelines which is added on your canvas, but this will not be included on the output. So basically these are just your guides. Okay, so same also if you wanted to have a vertical guidelines, so just click on the vertical ruler, click and hold and drag. You now have guidelines. Okay, so if you wanted to remove the guidelines, you can always click and bring it back. You can always click and bring it back to the ruler. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the dispersion technique. So let's start first by placing a color on our background. So let's pick yellow as our background. So you can use the paint bucket tool, paint it on the background. Okay, let's select a little bit brighter yellow. Okay, so that the dispersion effect will be more visible if we have the yellow background color. Okay, so let's go back to the photo that we're going to add dispersion or dispersion effect. So just click and drag it to the canvas. Okay, so as you can see, the photo do have the white background. So we have to remove first the white background. So you can use the magic wand. Click the magic wand tool click on the white background. So automatically the white background is being selected on that particular layer. So just click delete. Okay. So Control D to deselect. Okay. So the woman in the photo is now the only pixels which is on that particular layer. Okay. So since we are going to do dispersion effect, so we're going to do dispersion effect. So we have to make sure that we have enough space for the dispersion. Okay, so the only remaining pixels in that layer is the woman. So since we need to have a dispersion effect or the splatter effect, so we have to have a bigger space for the dispersion. So we're going to move the woman or layer 1 or layer 1 in this position, so that we have enough space here. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is let's resize a bit. Control T to resize. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is duplicate. Control J to duplicate, or go to layer, duplicate layer. Okay, or Control J, so you now have the layer 1 copy. Okay, so you have 2 layers here. So let's go to the first layer, which is layer 1. So because that is at the back of layer 1 copy, so that will be our dispersion. So what we're going to do is we're going to resize it a bit. Resize it a bit. Resize it a bit. Okay. So since the only pixels on layer 1 is the woman, so we can now use the Liquify. So we're going to use the Liquefy filter. Just go to filter, then click Liquify. Okay. So basically these are your tools. If you don't have the other tools, you can just click the advanced mode or check the advanced mode checkbox on the right side. So you have the advanced mode checkbox here. So click the advanced mode checkbox. Okay. So you have additional tools here and options on the right side. Okay. So always remember, if you don't have the other tools here, so you can click the advanced mode. Okay. So other tools will be visible and options will be included here. Okay. So on the left side, we have different Liquify tools. So the first one is the forward warp tool. Okay. So the forward warp tool is used to pull pixels. So what the forward warp tool is doing is it is pulling a pixel from a particular location. Let's say, for example, on this here, this is what we're going to do. Okay. And at the same time also, you can explore the option bar. So this refers to the brush size, brush density, or how the forward warp tool will have an effect on the image or the pixels. Okay, so the greater the value, the greater the pulling of the pixels. Okay, so you can adjust the values here, and you can always resize the tool size using the square bracket. Okay, you can always pull the pixels. Okay, so that is the forward warp tool. We're going to pull the pixels, and that's what we're going to do for our splatter effect or dispersion effect. Okay, but before that, I'm going to just discuss the other tools on the left side. Okay, so we have the forward warp tool. So we can reverse the process by using the Reconstruct tool. So the Reconstruct tool is used to reconstruct the pixels. For example, if you already modified or liquefied the image, you can always bring it back to its original. Let's say you have already used the forward warp tool, so we can bring it back to its original. Okay, just click on the pixels so that it will reconstruct again. Okay, another way is by pressing and holding Alt key. So let's say you're going to use the forward warp tool. So press and hold Alt key. Then since you are still on the forward warp tool, press and hold Alt key, then reconstruct. Okay? So that is the Reconstruct tool. Okay, so we have the twirl clockwise tool. So basically, it is used to twirl clockwise the pixels. Okay, let's say for example, if I'm going to resize my tool here, then click on this portion on the head. Okay, it will twirl clockwise. If you wanted to twirl it counterclockwise, just press and hold the Alt key. Press and hold Alt key. Still you are on the twirl. Still you are on the twirl clockwise tool. Press and hold the Alt key, then click again. Okay, so you reciprocate the process of the twirl clockwise tool. Okay, so that is the twirl clockwise tool. Okay, so we have the pucker tool. Okay, the pucker tool is used to compress pixels. So meaning to say, it will make the pixels smaller. Okay, let's say for example, let's zoom in a bit. Let's say if I'm going to reduce this one, let's apply it sa eyes or on the woman's eyes. So let's click. Okay. So it reduces the pixels or it shrinks the pixels on the selection. So meaning to say, it will reduce the pixels on the selection. Okay. If you have the pucker tool, we have the bloat tool. So that is a reciprocal or the reverse process of the pucker tool. So if you reduce the pixels, you can increase or bloat the pixels again. Okay. So that is the bloat tool. Okay. Same also with the other tools. You can always use the alt. You can always press and hold the Alt key for you to be able to reciprocate the process. Let's say if this is the pucker tool, to reciprocate, just press and hold Alt, then click again. So it will be a bloat tool. Okay. So that is the bloat tool. So the next tool is what we call as the push left tool. Okay. So from the tool name itself, so basically it will pull the pixels to the left. Let's say for example, if I'm going to start on the right side of the woman, brushing it, going for upward. So basically, it will push the pixels on its left kung saan dadaan yung tool. Okay, let's say for example, I'm on the push left tool. So I'm going to click on this side. Okay. So it will pull your pixels to the left. Okay. So it will pull the pixels to the left. Okay. So it's different from the eraser tool. So what this tool is doing is it pushes the pixels to the left. Okay, so this is commonly used for those who wanted to have adjustments on the size of, for example, of the body or the shape of the body. So you can use that push left tool. Okay, so we have the freeze mask tool. So basically, the freeze mask tool allows you to freeze particular portion. Let's say, for example, if I'm going to brush on the face, so if you cannot see what you're selecting, so you can just click the show mask checkbox here on the right side. Okay, so that is the portion which is being fixed or in-applyan nyo ng freeze mask tool. Okay, So basically, that will be a fixed pixel. So you cannot modify that one. Let's say, for example, if I'm going to use the twirl clockwise tool and apply it to the entire picture, then double click on it. Click on it. So click multiple times. Okay. As you can see that the portion which is being selected by the freeze mask tool is not included on the twirl. Okay, so if you have the freeze mask tool, you have the throw mask tool. Actually, this is just to remove the portion which is selected by the freeze mask tool. So let's say if the portion being selected is the entire face, so we can remove portion of that one using the throw mask tool. So just click on the portion. Okay, so let's say we are going to use the bloat tool. Okay, so basically there's a portion which is already removed on the freeze mask tool. So basically it will now be included on the editing. Okay, so those are the tool in the Liquify tool. So since we already modified the entire image, so we just have to cancel this one. So I just demonstrated how the Liquify tools works. So just cancel this one again. Okay, going back again to our goal or to our objective, which is to create a dispersion or splatter effect. So let's go back again to layer 1. Okay, so this is our layer 1. Let's go to filter, then liquify. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the forward warp tool. So just pull portions, especially the side of the image, and splatter it on the empty area. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger so that the pulling is mas madami. Okay, so itong forward warp natin are the portion of the splatter. Okay, so dito malalagay yung mga effects of the splattering. Okay, so if you're done liquefying or doing the forward warp tool or using the forward warp tool, just click OK. Okay, so everything that you liquefy is visible on your Photoshop, okay, or your canvas or that layer. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use the layer mask. Okay, we don't have any selected pixels on the layer. We just click the layer, then click create or click the layer mask, add layer mask. Okay, so as you can see, the layer mask is white. So basically, if white is the layer mask, everything will be visible on the on that particular layer. Okay, again, if you add a layer mask, that will be an empty layer mask. So you reveal everything or pixels which is on that particular layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the pixels which is on layer 1. Itatago natin yung pixels on layer 1 using layer mask. Okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to brush and reveal portions of our pixels on that particular layer. Okay? Kasi di ba yung niliquify natin will still appears entirely appears on the layer. So again, we're going to add a layer mask. The layer mask is of color white, and a white layer mask color means that it will reveal pixels on that particular layer. Okay, so for us to hide, for us to hide the pixels on that layer, the layer mask should be black. So we can reciprocate the color. So from white, let's turn it into black. So just click on the layer mask, the white layer mask. Okay, then press Control I. Okay, press Control I. You turn the layer mask into black. Okay, again Control I. White layer mask reveals the pixels on the layer. Control I, turn it into black. Black layer mask hides the pixels on that particular layer. Okay, so how do you make splatter effect? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to reveal pixels on that particular layer, because that is our because on that layer there are hidden pixels there because of the black layer mask. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the foreground color is white. So meaning to say white over black reveals pixels on that layer mask. Okay, again the foreground color should be white. White over black layer mask reveals something on that layer. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the brush tool. Okay, so by default, this is going to reset this one. Okay, by default you have round brushes here. So what we're going to do to have a splatter effect is we're going to use the square brush. Just click the option here on the option bar. Then you have the settings here, the setting button. Okay, kindly look for the square brush. Okay, just click OK. You now have the square brush. Just select the square brush. Okay, on this option we have the toggle the brush panel. Okay, click the toggle the brush panel. Okay, so check the shape dynamics, then adjust the shape dynamics, yung size jitters, minimum diameter. Okay, let's adjust this one after the other settings. So check also the scattering. Okay, so kindly select the scattering. So just resize the scattering so that this will be the splatter effect or the scatter effect. The count, if you wanted to increase the count, the jitter, so you can always go back to shape dynamics. Okay, angle jitter, random jitter. Okay, so smoothing, you can check the smoothing if you want. Okay, so if you're done setting the values on the toggle the brush panel, you can now brush. Remember, just click on the layer mask here on layer 1, then brush. Okay, as you can see, it reveals portion of the pixels which is being liquefied earlier. Okay, so you can increase the size if you want para merong variation. Let's put something just stroke, especially near the side of the woman. Okay, you can always resize stroke, the brush size for variation. Okay, so okay, so we now have the splatter effect here. So okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the layer 1 copy. Okay, so next is we're going to add layer mask on that on the layer 1 copy. Okay, so when you add layer mask, it creates a white layer mask on layer 1 copy. So remember again, white layer mask reveals pixels on that particular layer. Okay, so kung kanina, if earlier what we did is we paint or we use the brush using the white foreground on a black layer mask. So this time we're going to paint black. So we're going to turn the foreground into black color. We're going to paint black over white. Okay, if the white reveals pixels on the layer, if you're going to paint if you're going to use brush paint using brush tool on the white layer mask, it will hide the pixel. Okay, so same also using the square brush. So just stroke our brush, especially on the side of the woman, to create that splatter effect. Okay, again, you can resize. You can resize to add variations. Okay. Okay, so we already created a dispersion or scatter effect in Photoshop. Okay, so let's add a little bit of text. So again, use the ruler to have a guide. Let's make it aligned on the eyes. Okay, use the type tool. Then let's add I am beauty full text. Okay, so we can align this one because we have the guideline. Okay, let's add blending option. Let's put a stroke. And let's add outer glow. Okay, so remove the guidelines again. Just click and bring it back to the ruler. Okay. So always remember how the splatter effect looks depends on how you brush on the layer mask or the added layer mask on particular layer. Okay, so that's how you do dispersion effects in Photoshop and some of the other helpful tools that you can use in Photoshop.